Hello there guys, and welcome to another one of my reviews. Today we're going to be driving the brand new Opel Mokka E. So what is it? Well, it's the second generation of the mildly popular Opel Mokka, and it's a car that's meant to bring Opel into the next generation, into the new century, and it's using a lot of shared components with its PSA brothers. It's a subcompact SUV crossover kind of thing. I would definitely call it a crossover, not an SUV, because it's rather small in size. But what I do like about it, it's its exterior design. Now, no matter if you go for the electric version or the normal Mokka, you will notice a completely new design language up front on the front fascia, because Opel decided to use the Mokka as its launching pad in this regard, because the Mokka, the second generation Mokka, which was unveiled late last year, is bringing a completely new design language to the Opel brand. And the fact that Opel chose the Mokka to unveil this new design says a lot about the company and a lot about the industry right now. As you might have noticed, in the industry right now, these crossovers are dominating the scene. Everybody wants one. If in the past you would get like a small 208, now you want to get a Opel Mokka because it's riding higher and you think it's better value, and that's what customers want. Opel knows this, and they decided to unveil their new design language with the Mokka. So what's new? It's the entire front end that's dominated by this black piece right here, which is called the Opel visor. That's a design feature that will be found on all the future new models. It's already found on the new Astra. It's already found on the new Grandland, and it's going to be used on a number of Opel models. I actually like the way it looks. It reminds me of older cars with this boxy, simple shape. It reminds me of old Cadet models from Opel. Now, our tester is fitted with a lot of options. It's basically a fully kitted car, and it has these LED headlamps up front that also look good with their daytime running lights over here, powered by LEDs, of course. And the short beam and the high beam are also using LEDs, and these are called Lux LEDs from Luxury. Other than that, we have a small grille up front, but that's really small on purpose because it's only meant to feed some air to the battery pack underneath the floor to cool them off. But other than that, everything is blocked out in order to make the car more aerodynamic. From the sides, the proportions are very simple. The design is very simple, not a lot of character lines, nothing of the sort. You will notice that we have a bicolor finish over here. So we have the body dressed up in this bright green color, and then we have the roof line and the roof dressed in black. Now, that's something we've seen on Peugeot and on Peugeot models in the past, so it might feel a bit familiar. You'll also notice the optional 18-inch wheels wrapped in Michelin Primacy 4 tires, and the fact that the door extends up until up under the door sill. Now, I would have liked the rear door to open a bit wider because access in the back is a bit limited, let's say. There's not a lot of room, and the fact that the roof line comes down over here doesn't really help if you're a taller person such as myself. So if you're over 6 feet, you might struggle getting in the back. Now, from the back, we also have the same simple lines. We have new tail lamps. Everything is new compared to the old model, but everything also screams Opel. We have the model's name written down along with the E letter to tell you that this is a electric car, and the boot has a total capacity of 301 liters, which isn't a lot, but at least you have a double floor, which will help with splitting your luggage in case you want that. But if you fold the rear seats, you get a total of over 1,000 liters of space. Inside the car, we have the same story as the one I told you about on the outside. Namely, the fact that Opel decided to use the Mokka to introduce a couple of new technology and new design cues. So the biggest news is this whole dashboard that introduces the new digital instrument cluster and the new infotainment system on the new car. Both of them are brand new and inspired by PSA technology. The infotainment system is very easy to use. It has a decent resolution, the screen has a decent resolution, and it has some shortcuts over here on the bottom that help you navigate through them. It's really easy to use, it's not complicated, and you can use Android Auto and Apple CarPlay using a wire for now. Maybe we'll get wireless connections in the future. Right beneath the screen we have a vent and then the HVAC controls, which are normal buttons, thank God, and they are really easy to use. And underneath those we have a wireless charging pad, buttons for various driving assistant functions, from lane keeping assistant to parking sensors and self-parking. And then there's the center console, which is dressed in piano black, which will get a lot of fingerprints and dust on it. And you will notice the gear selector buttons and the driving mode buttons from other models like the Peugeot 208 or the Citroën EC4. They are technically the same, so they use the same buttons. Now, the instrument cluster is a digital one and it adheres to the new principle launched by Opel, which is technical detox. So you only have the essential information in it. It has a very good resolution, works flawlessly. I couldn't find anything wrong with it, and I actually like it. What I don't like is this whole mess of piano black over here. It will get even messier in the future with a lot of dust and a lot of fingerprints. The steering wheel as well is wrapped in leather. We have the multimedia buttons over here and the driving aids over here. Really not too thick, not too thin, just the perfect size. Now, in terms of space, there is plenty of space, even for someone of my size. But if you're bigger, you might feel a bit cramped over here. I'm 6 feet tall and 250 pounds. The seats are a bit on the harsher side of things, but they are wrapped in a combination of Alcantara with leather, which feels decent to the touch. It's not the best quality leather I've ever seen, but it's okay. And the materials in this cabin are a mixed bunch. You get rough plastics on the top of the doors, rough plastics on the dashboard. The middle section is wrapped in Alcantara and leather, but this is only on the top spec models. And we also have these fake carbon fiber trims on the door panels and on the dashboard, which do look interesting, but not perfect. I would have preferred these on the center console over here, because I think they would have withstood the test of time even better. Now let's get in the back and see how things go down over there. Well, this is it. This is how a 6 feet tall, 250 pound person fits in the back of this car, with another 6 feet tall, 250 pound person behind the wheel, because the driver's seat is adjusted to my comfortable driving position, and this is how I would not fit in the back of the new Opel Mokka, or at least the electric version until I test the regular version. There's not a lot of space. Just think of the fact that the Mokka is basically a Corsa on stilts. So if you don't fit inside the Corsa, you won't really fit inside a Mokka as well, even though it seems like a bigger car. It's really not inside. It does ride higher, but it's really not that bigger. So this is it. Sorry if I disappointed you, but the materials are great in here, and if you're on the smaller side of things, I think you could fit quite easily in the back, but not people of my stature. 4 people of my stature would not fit inside this car. Well, now that we're behind the wheel of the new Opel Mokka E, let's talk about the technical side of things. As I mentioned before, this car is built on the same platform as the EC4, as the Peugeot E2008, as the Peugeot E208 and the Opel Corsa E. It's the EMP1 platform, or the CMP platform as it is known now, after the groups PSA and FCA merged and created Stellantis. That's underpinning a lot of different models, and it's a platform meant to be used for internal combustion engine cars and electric ones via conversion. So that comes with a couple of caveats, as you would expect, because once you drive a car built on a modular electric platform that was created to house electric cars from the get-go, and when you drive an converted car, a car built on a platform which was initially destined for internal combustion engine cars, you notice the differences between them straight away. Since this platform was created for a lighter car, once you pile on all this additional weight, the balance of the car is, I wouldn't say ruined, but affected quite a lot. So the ride is also affected quite a lot because the suspension has to be stiffened up. So the Mokka E feels quite rigid, quite stiff on a variety of roads. And what surprised me was the fact that the suspension is also noisier than I would have expected, which took me by surprise, as I already said. That's because I'm comparing it to the EC4, and the EC4 definitely has a quieter and softer ride. It's one of the best rides I've experienced in one such car that was built on a modular platform like this. It's a really refined ride, and I did a review with that car. You will find a link over here. But apart from the suspension that feels a bit stiffer, maybe that was done on purpose, I don't know, and it feels a bit noisier. That was definitely not done on purpose. The technical side of things is identical. So under the hood, we have an electric motor capable of delivering 136 horsepower and 260 Newton meters of torque. You can only get that one motor on this car. You cannot get all-wheel drive. All the cars are front-wheel drive, and all of them come with a single battery, and that is a 50 kilowatt-hour battery. That is the total size of the battery, but the usable size, it's 46 kilowatt hours, 45.6, let's round it up to 46. According to Opel, that should allow the Mokka E to cover about 200 miles or 320 kilometers on a single charge, but that's not what I found. So I'll drop a link over here to my range test and energy consumption test. During that time, I noticed that around town you would probably get about 250 to 300 kilometers of range. Outside the city limit, you would go over that 300 kilometers of range. If you're driving on B roads at an average speed of 73 kilometers an hour, that's what I got. But I was surprised by the result on the highway, because on the highway, this car was closer to 26 kilowatt hours of energy per 100 kilometers covered, 26, 27 at a average speed of 130 kilometers an hour, which is the speed limit over here where I live. That was quite a lot, and it's a lot because I've driven most of the other cars based on this platform. None of them had that kind of energy consumption figures. The EC4, for example, had an energy consumption on the highway of 21 kilowatt hours, and that was decent. This car took a lot more. Now, from what I can gather, I tested them on the same stretch of road with the same speed. The only difference is the exterior temperature. It was rather warm or closer to hot when I tested the EC4, but when I tested this car, the temperatures dropped closer to 10 degrees Celsius. And of course, cold takes a toll on the electric range of these cars. Batteries don't really like cold, and they react in such a way to it, and that affects the range, of course, and the energy consumption. So yeah, that's what I got. If you guys have different results, let me know in the comment section below, and even if you don't, just tell me what you think about my results and the range this car gets. Getting back to the driving aspect of the car, I already talked about the suspension, so some of you will be curious about just how sporty this car is. Well, it's not that sporty. It wasn't designed to be a sporty car. It was designed to be a subcompact crossover that's meant to be used around town for your daily chores and stuff like that. So think about this for a second. It's not a sporty car because it will do 100 kilometers an hour from standstill in 9 seconds, and its top speed is 150 kilometers an hour. So it's not really meant to leave the city, and it's not really meant to be driven like a race car. So you should definitely keep that in mind. If you try to drive it in a sportier fashion, the car will lean a lot, will understeer a lot. The front tires will lose grip rather easily, if you ask me, and it will understeer until into oblivion. So you really shouldn't try and push it to the absolute limit, because you might lose it. There's an extra weight on the car, so it really doesn't make any sense to do that. Overall though, I really like it, and I really like the exterior design of this car, which I find to be incredibly attractive. It's a mix of new age and old school designs, and I absolutely love it. Is it the right car for you? Only you can tell me. The pricing, I would discuss the pricing right here, but it varies from country to country. Don't be afraid to tell me how much this car costs in your country, because over here, the pricing starts at about just a tad under 34,000 euros, goes up to 39,000 euros, and the car we're testing with all the bells and whistles on is 42,000 euros. But we do have a generous grant from the government over here. It's 10,000 euros, so for electric cars, so you can probably get this car for less than 30,000 euros easily. So yeah, please let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you liked this review. If you didn't, just give me a dislike, but please tell me why. And in the meantime, don't forget to like, share, and of course, subscribe to this channel to keep it alive. Until next time, ciao.